It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being here, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I am your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. And with me in the KFG studio is my business partner and founder of Korhorn Financial Group, Kevin Korhorn.
Well, thank you, Mike, for that founder shout-out.
You've earned it, buddy. Your name's on the door.
I've earned something. So, and with our special guest. But today, we're going to be talking about retirement. And retirement is typically the biggest financial goal that people have. And it is typically the goal that takes the longest time to achieve. And a key variable in the ability to retire with confidence is accumulating the right amount of money. So how much money do you need to have accumulated to retire? We're going to share the process you need to take to answer that question, that and more on this episode of the Wise Money Show.
That's right. And Kevin mentioned, we have a special guest today. Ryan Ledden is here from, what's your accent sounds Alaskan? Is it way up north? Really far, like Nordic even.
I was like, wow, that's caught me off guard there.
No, we're excited to have Ryan on the show. We'll have him introduce himself here in just a second. If you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you. You can interact with us, reach out to us a few different ways. Call or text us 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, wisemoneyshow.com is where you can find us and reach out to us there as well. And then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Just search the Wise Money Show. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Appreciate it. It's good to be here.
All right. So, yes, you're not Alaskan.
No.
Give us a quick intro before we jump into the topic.
So I am from North Atlanta, and I'm an advisor as well. And Kevin and I happen to sit next to each other at a conference. Was it in Indy?
Yep. Well, I think we met in Nashville, and then but I'd heard you on a podcast that you had done, and I said, man, this guy's good. And then I got to meet you in person, and we just kind of hit it off. And a lot of what we do, I know Ryan's supposed to be introducing himself, but a lot of what we do at Korhorn Financial Group is we invite people in to see what we're doing, and we are constantly learning from our peers. And so Ryan's here for a couple days of peer-to-peer sharing, and we're learning from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it was by chance that ended up sitting next to him at that conference. So, yeah, I think some of the things he said at that conference, I kept saying in my head, like, that's kind of where I want to be. And obviously all of us have different practices and we can run them different ways. But I definitely saw some things that he said, and he said that you guys were doing. And I'm like, I got to see that in person. So here I am.
Well, we're glad to have you. And thanks for being on the show. It's funny. So I got 3 kids, and 2 of them, everyone they meet is a stranger. But one, everyone they meet is a friend immediately. And that is Kevin. And so we've all been blessed by that. So not a surprise to me that you guys became fast friends. So, all right. So let's get into it. You guys know the Wise Money Show is a show about financial planning. There's 6 areas to your financial life, my financial life, Warren Buffett's financial life. There's 6 areas, okay? Retirement planning is one of them. So is investment planning, by the way. Investment planning in and of itself is not financial planning. It's not comprehensive financial planning. It's important. You need world-class investment management. But in and of itself, that's just one of the 6 areas. We're going to focus today on retirement planning.
Yeah, and this is a show about financial planning, and for 10 years, and it never gets old. It's exciting every time we talk about it. Retirement planning is one of the 6 areas. If you just work your way around the circle, your present financial position, which is your cash flow statement. I don't like to use the B word, but if you were going to say budget, you get away with that. And your net worth statement. So it is an objective measure of where is the money going, and based on the amount of money that you've earned, what are you accumulating, and how are you able to compound the growth of that money? So that's your present financial position. Next is protection planning. What risks do you have? What risks do you write a check and transfer to an insurance company? Which risks do you live with? And what are the other ways to mitigate risk that is different than just writing a check, et cetera, et cetera? So then the next area is tax planning, not tax preparation. Lots of folks think, well, I get my taxes prepared every year. You do, but who is helping you optimize in your tax life to pay the right amount of taxes over your lifetime and have great visibility on that. The next area is investment planning. So when you think about investment planning, how do you structure your investments? Because you have different chunks of money that need to accomplish different things for you. Some are short term, some are medium term, some are long term. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? And some need to be too hot, some need to be too cold, some need to be just right and serve different purposes for you. Retirement planning, which is the one we're going to focus on today, is a really important one. It's a fascinating one because the only thing that you know for sure about your financial goals is they're going to change. So you say, well, how do they change? And do I have a guide? Is there a Sherpa walking with me up the mountain, up the retirement mountain, to help me avoid pitfalls and dangers and other things that might come along? And the sixth area of financial planning is estate planning. That's the cap of any good financial plan. It says, look at the second death sure at the first death, but the big purpose is at the second death. If we both died today, where's all the money going to go?
So here we go. It's a simple question. Sounds simple. I know you've thought of it. You might be thinking it right now. I don't know how you would answer it. We're going to help you. How much money do you need to retire? How much money do you need to retire? Guys, before we wade into the approach that you should take to answer that question, just what do you think? What's your thoughts on that question? What's wrong with it? What comes to mind, Ryan?
Because it's different for everybody. We had a workshop a couple nights ago, and this very question, a lady in the back asked that very question, and I said, "You're not going to like my answer." And it does. It just depends. There's so many variables, and I think there was a commercial, it may have been like 8 to 10 years ago, and it showed people carrying around a number. What's your number?
Yeah.
And it just depends.
So, when we started the Wise Money Show, I wasn't the host, and it was much better by the way back then. And but I remember, before we started recording, the host at the time, Casey, said, "You guys, I know this is just going to be another financial show, and every question you're going to say, it depends. It depends." Well, we're trying not to be that. We're going to talk about the process. But you're 100% right. The big fail with this question is everyone thinks there's an exact number for me, and you think what's right for that person that I know, because I live next to them, or we work together, or we are the same height, or whatever. Whatever is right for them is right for me too. And that's all a lie.
And when you see someone who's good at it and they're not really breaking a sweat, you think, oh, well, look, it can't be that hard. That person's doing it. And it isn't easy. And so the it depends answer is related to the outcome. But for everybody, no matter who you are, the process should be the same.
Well, okay, so let's expand on this a little bit more, because this is a lot of clickbait, and if you're interested in taking your next wise step in your financial life and having the right financial habits, you might see some of these articles. Is there a magic number? Is there some sort of guide or rule of thumb that I can do a multiple of my income? I can do I can do some sort of math equation and I can back into it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of times people say, well, 80% of your income, or, do I replace my income 100%? Well, you tell me, what kind of margin do you have as you currently live and are preparing for retirement? What kind of margin is there? Because if you have considerable margin, if you're putting $30,500 a year into your retirement plan, if you're putting $8,300 into plus 1,000 plus 1,000 into your HSA, and you're funding all these things, you're not going to need to fund those things in retirement. So right off the bat, you say, well, the money that I needed for my accumulation goals as I was working, I'm not going to need that money. And then what is your balance sheet? How clean is your balance sheet? And if your balance sheet is squeaky clean and you have no debt and you have no big purchases on the horizon, you should be, you should need even less. So you wouldn't compare me, if I still have a mortgage on my house and I've got a car payment or two, to someone who has no debt.
Yeah, everyone. And you just cannot fathom. I'm sort of on this kick right now from The Psychology of Money, a book I would strongly recommend. But how rich is visible, wealth is hidden. You can't see it. Rich is sort of the tangible evidence that there's money or that there's income or maybe borrowing. Wealth, though, no one, like Ryan, no one walks around with that number, right? That in that commercial, because I remember that vividly as well. And so you just cannot fathom, you just cannot comprehend the hidden differences and uniquenesses to your financial life compared to those that you know. Okay, but all that like sort of contributes to how much money do you need to retire? We've got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show that airs right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday morning, and also on podcast at the same time, but on a couple local radio stations as well, where we're headquartered in northern Indiana, which is why we got breaks and segments and all that sort of stuff. But we have Next Wise Step videos that air all throughout the work week right here on this channel. So if this is too long, or you cut to the chase, that sort of thing, we cut to the chase. So we got lots of videos right there on the Wise Money YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're aware every time we drop new content. If you like the content, and go check out Ryan's stuff too. So you have a podcast.
I have a podcast. It's called Perfect Game Retirement. I use the title, kind of blast from the past of my old has-been days of playing baseball.
So that touches my heart. That's awesome. So
that is funny.
Yeah,
I mean that's great.
So Kevin, when in travel baseball, there's all these different organizations, if you will, that run tournaments, and then there's like, and locally there's like, okay, the mediocre, the good, this is high level, but then nationally there is like the brand, and it's Perfect Game. Perfect Game. Although I hear they're tainting it, and prep baseball is trying to overtake them.
Yeah, it's like they've been the king of the mountain, and someone's trying to take them down.
All right, so here's the goal for no pressure, but we're gonna tee Ryan up to talk more this segment.
Sure.
That was part of that is just Good call, Mike. Good call. Yep.
All righty. So we'll pick it back up around magic number and 1.5 million. I probably will just ask you a few things, put you on the spot, whatever. So just
no problem.
And then we'll start wading into it. So, by the way, and I've typed this all out and all that stuff. We never follow it.
Okay.
We've never once. Nowhere close. So you don't need to worry. Wait a second. Where are we? Second segment? Okay, I go here. Nope, you don't.
Yes. Okay. So good. We will.
All right.
Good.
Here we go. Is there a magic number that you need to know? All right, here's how much I need in order to retire. Guys, if only it was that easy. It's not, but there is a process to help you retire confidently. We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn, and special guest Ryan Ledden. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on podcast wherever you listen. Just search the Wise Money Show and subscribe to it there, follow us there, share it there, rate the program there. We appreciate all of that stuff. We are talking about probably the biggest, wouldn't you say, maybe this is the biggest financial question people have? I mean, retirement of all the financial goals, probably the biggest and most universal. Whether you are planning a traditional retirement, you're going to play golf a bunch of times or whatever, or you just want financial independence, you're working because you want to, not because you have to. Retirement's sort of a universal goal. So as we talk about the process to determine how much you need to retire, we left off on, is there a magic number? There's a survey out there saying that on average, people say they need 1.5 million. Ryan, what are your thoughts on that?
So, and Kevin hit on it before. It's that cash flow, and you ask people point blank, like, how much do you need? Well, I don't know. Well, how much do you spend? Well, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, we need to figure that out. So your balance sheet, your cash flow, those things are really important. You have to figure out. I know that's not maybe fun or the sexy part of it, but you need to know that to see how much that nest egg is going to equate to. So I tell a lot of our clients, nest egg is great, but a lot of times it's about income. How much income do you have coming in, and what are those sources that come in? And just that's where the math component comes in.
Yeah. I mean, 1.5 million. The interesting thing about this is I look at these studies and a few years ago. I think it was pre-COVID. It was 1.1. And then it went to 1.2, 1.3, and then it jumped to 1.5. And here's the other thing I would say. Feelings lie. You might, and this is where, Kevin will tell you, run, don't walk to your certified financial planner, because you might be telling yourself a story, possibly because you have made some financial mistakes. Guess what? You're not alone.
Yeah.
Everyone has. Or you're gripped by this feeling that we all carry with us. I do right now, and I know you do too, and that is, I could be further ahead. I could be further ahead. And that's the other deceptive thing about wealth. And so it can confuse you with this feeling, well, I need 1.5, or I need 5, or I need 3, or whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening right now and you're saying, oh, so if I need 1.5, there's no way I'm getting there. So I'm checking out. And I would say, well, don't do that. For sure, don't do that. If you're trying to follow along, Mike is referring to a study from Kiplinger's, and it's the Northwestern Mutual's 2024 Planning and Progress Study. And I think that when it says you need 1.46 million in the bank to retire comfortably, if you have that in the bank, you're probably not going to retire comfortably unless you know something about your life expectancy that no one else does.
Okay, keep going.
Well, no, so here's the thing. So the 1.46 is a 15% increase, which outpaces the 3 to 5% inflation rate. So if you're working with a certified financial planner, I would look at what inflation rate are we assuming? What is the basket of goods and services that I'll be buying in retirement likely to inflate at? But here's the kicker. Since 2020, that number is up 50%. 50%.
Okay. So it was a little bit less than 1.1 then. It would have been 900 or something like that. So yeah, wow.
So if you've done the Rip Van Winkle and you went to sleep in 2019 and you're waking up today, you almost wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe the numbers, because you probably can remember when, if someone was a millionaire, that was a special thing.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not special now, but it's almost out of necessity if you're going to retire. And again, all of these things factor into it. How many houses do I have in retirement? Do I have 2 houses? And our little joke that's not really funny about, what do you call a person with 2 houses? The property manager, right? And so are you going to be a property manager in retirement and manage a house up here and manage a house down in Florida? And because the other things that changed, things that you might not have anticipated, is what's going to happen to the price of the insurance on your house in Florida.
Oh, my.
And so a lot of people are necessarily having to adjust their budgets, people that are already in retirement even, and saying, hey, is the plan that I have still going to work?
Ryan, you guys impacted much in insurance rates by where you're at in Georgia from these storms, or not much?
Luckily, our immediate area dodged a large bullet, because it kind of came through South Georgia and then it almost button hooked and went around to the east. But unfortunately, so I have family in Asheville.
Oh, wow. And
luckily their particular house is okay, but schools, I mean, you saw the devastation of that area. And so I had family in Tampa and then family in Asheville. So both areas were greatly affected by it. Our immediate area, again, dodged a bullet big time, but those areas like in Asheville, I mean, in certain areas it was like a war zone.
Yeah, that's wild. But Kevin, you pointed it out. I mean, that's one of your retirement expenses. And you have no control over it. You have no control. So here's what we're talking about. I mean, if you might be confused thinking, wait, I thought you were going to tell me a number, how much do I need to retire? And here we're talking about cash flow issues. We're talking about income. Ryan brought up how important income is. Kevin, you even mentioned if you've got 1.5 sitting in the bank, that probably isn't going to help you. And why is that? Because what's the bank paying? How much interest are you going to earn on that 1.5 million? So it'd be easy to get confused. Well, the process, that's the answer. Instead of how much money do you need? Well, it depends. It depends on the process. And the process is we call it the 5-factor retirement plan, because there's key decisions. I love when our co-host Josh Gregory talks about these are choices. They don't feel like it. It feels like, well, just inertia. This is what I'm supposed to do or whatever. But these are actually decisions, 5 interrelated decisions that all work together to determine whether you're on track to retire. And we're going to break those down right now, but I'll share a quick example. I've shared it before. Let's use the $1.5 million, though, and I'll tease it into the example. Mm-hmm. Let's say you heard or you saw that study, and you are great at making widgets or managing widget makers or whatever you're great at, and you saw, I need $1.5 million. Okay, great. And you know what? You worked hard, you focused on it, and you got there at age 50. Could you retire? Right? Versus someone that it took them a little bit longer and they got there at 65. Okay, now I'm at one. Are they the same? No, because the person that got there at 50, if they said, all right, I'm stepping off the edge of that steady paycheck and I'm going to retire, that $1.5 million has to last 40 years, right? Mm-hmm. Versus the person that got to 1.5 at 65, now that's got to last 25 years. Right? It's very different. If you're going on vacation, I've used this analogy before, how much money it costs to go on vacation depends on where you're going, so how much you're spending, but how long you're going to be there. So that's an example of the 5 factors. Let's get into them. We'll break them each down, okay? The first factor in determining whether you're able to retire, the first decision you need to make is when. Mm-hmm. What age? What age do you want to retire? Mm-hmm. And so that determines essentially how long retirement's going to last.
I was thinking about this as you're going to get into the 5 factors, the first factor being age. Which factor has the greatest impact on your retirement? And I could make an argument. It wouldn't be my strongest argument, but I could make an argument that age does have an impact on that. So if you said, well, give me what's the foolproof retirement plan? Here it is.
Don't have kids.
It vaporizes money.
That's right.
And for some of us, that it may be a little late in making that decision. So here's the foolproof way. If you said, give me a retirement plan that works 100% of the time, work until you die. Mm-hmm. And not everyone that hears that would get excited about that, because some folks say, actually, I want to hang it up. Some folks say my career path, they don't let me work beyond a certain age. Some folks say, hey, physically, I'm not able to do my job beyond a certain age. And there are a lot of different things. But here's the problem. The problem that gets us out of bed every day is the study, the Northwestern Mutual study says,
I got to take it from you.
You take it from me. Yeah, my bad, Mike.
We're going to pick that back up because, so age, there's bookends there, but then that's just one of the 5 factors. So we're going to hit all that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. See, I was a second early on that one, and a second late on the one before. And Lindsay just makes it all work.
So usually, instead of just taking it from me, he gives me the finger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Someday.
But, dude,
this finger?
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, so, yeah. And so I was looking at the clock, and in my mind, I had tons of time and a little bit of room to roll. Because, I mean, this is the issue. This is, if you said, what's our noble cause? It's helping the American worker, the most productive worker in the history of the world, the hardest working worker.
I don't know. We still don't know who built those pyramids. But short of that answer, you're 100%
okay. Those people,
right.
they might have been hustling as well. But to retire with dignity. And if you said, well, is it possible that they retire with dignity? I don't know. But the study, and we're going to get into this, but the study says 1.5 million, and the average amount that U.S. adults have saved for retirement is $89,000.
Yeah.
So you say, well, wait a minute, we're woefully short.
Yep.
And all that means is then, therefore, when I get to retirement, I no longer have financial freedom. I no longer have freedom of choice.
That's right. I'm stuck.
I don't have independence.
I'm limited.
The decisions, all of the financial decisions are made for me.
Yep. I think it's probably made up, but someone asked AI who built the pyramids, and they like drew some I'm not sure which one, but like drew some like giant Egyptians that were like carrying these things. So even AI doesn't even know.
No.
So.
I was listening to a master class, and one of the guys who's, I can't remember his name, but he's one of the head developers of AI or whatever, and he said that he's like, obviously the answers it gives, but you still have to spot check it. It is not.
We did. We were
not
doing
exact science.
Yeah, we got caught in that. So they're moving the annual gift exclusion to 19,000.
Mm-hmm.
They
are.
Yep. It's 18,000 this year, and it was 17,000 last year. And AI, we were doing something, and it's like AI was like, gift exclusion 17,000, and it's like, no, that's not right.
That's not right.
So
Yeah,
all right.
It'll catch you. All right, let's get into it. Have they come up with the limits for 2025 for retirement plans?
As of the time this is that it's airing, yes, but at the time we're recording, no. There's a couple, I'm not going to say charlatans, but there's a couple people that have come out and said this is what they're going to be, and that's not from the IRS yet.
No, but I do think based on the IRS's, the IRS calculates it, and so if you just did the future value of money calculation based on their percentages,
right,
you should be able to
get
there.
Yeah. All right, third segment. We'll round out age. We'll hit.
We left off that segment. I referenced Northwestern Mutuals, but I didn't finish it. Do I finish it? Or?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But it's
hustle.
not like we need to hustle, but we
need
just need to be aware.
Yeah, you're right.
And also, just talk over us. Like if you've got something to
hop
say,
in
just
there.
don't wait your turn. It's
in
like driving in Atlanta. Like you don't wait for someone to let you in. You just
Got it. Good analogy.
Yeah, you just get in there.
What is it? The 85?
75.
75, 285.
Yeah.
285 is it's awful. It's the one that circles the city.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
treacherous.
that's the one that you're getting honked at because you're only going 85.
Yeah, it's awful.
Sorry about that.
First
Kevin, by
speeding
the way.
ticket ever was on 285.
Attaboy.
Really? You must have been flying.
18 years old. Yeah, I
Or
was.
just got someone who was ornery or needed to pay some bills or something. All right, here we go. Oh, that's good. All right. All right, there are 5 factors that are all interrelated, that determine whether you're able to retire. And here's the word, comfortably. We would use a couple different C words, clarity and confidence. You want to retire with clarity and confidence. But that leads to being comfortable. So those 5 factors, are you working that plan? What are they for you, and are you on track? We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and special guest Ryan Ledden. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there. Follow us there. This talk show is there every single week, but also lots of content. We air one at Monday through Friday. Next Wise Step video right there on the Wise Money YouTube channel, helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. So go there, check it out, subscribe as well. All right, there's 5 factors, 5 decisions you make that are interrelated. So you make a decision in one, it's going to impact your choices in the other, and you need to have a great wisdom in this process. So first is age. Kevin, you were I cut you off.
Well, I was referencing the Northwestern Mutual's 2024 Planning in Progress study, and they said, look, you need 1.46 million in order to retire, and the issue is the 89,000 that the American worker has saved up. Yep. So if you look at that, you'd say that is quite a gap. So this is where I do believe if you can begin with the end in mind and you know what you're trying to accomplish and what the factors are, because one of them being age, but the next one is your spending.
See, I would argue with you and say, okay, I think we've had this argument with lowercase a. What is there one factor that's more influential than the others? And I don't know. It just feels like spending to me. We've seen people retire with a couple $100,000 and been very comfortable. We've seen people not be able to retire with a couple $1 million saved up. And what's the difference? Well, how much they spend. And no value judgments. What's your lifestyle? And listen, you want to be part of the 3%. I'm assuming this number's changed, but 97%. And unless that 86,000 number is right, Kevin, 97% of people that retire have to adjust their lifestyle down. They cannot afford to live at the same standard of living or lifestyle as when they were working. You want to be part of the 3%er, and the Wise Money Show is here to turn that 3% into 30%, where you can retire and still maintain your same standard of living. And so, yeah. But within lifestyle, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah. And adjust my lifestyle down is a plan. If you said, hey, when I get to retirement, I don't want to eat out as much. I don't want to do all these various things. I want to adjust my lifestyle down. If that's your plan, though, I would intentionally state it and say, this is the plan. And if you're married, I'd make sure that both members of the team are good with that plan, because it can be a little bit surprising. And taking control of your spending is it's a discipline that I would encourage you to master no matter where you are. If you're 18 or you're 68, that's a discipline that you should master.
Yeah, I'll piggyback what you said with spending. I agree with you on that. I do think that, because there are people that can retire on way more than $1.46 million that this study showed, like you said. So a lot of it is spending, debt. I think that is the cornerstone of all that. If you have no overhead, or little overhead, I should say, from debt payments, you can make it work on a whole lot less than $1.46 million.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's a couple other things that are built in here, and many people overlook these in their planning. If you do an online calculator, for sure it will be overlooked, and that is the cost of healthcare, right? And I get it. You might be listening to this saying, how can I anticipate what the cost of groceries will be out there in the future or whatever? Well, part of this this spending, you need to have an inflation adjustment. But you can look at what the cost of Medicare is right now. Right now. You can find an average cost of a Medicare supplement right now. And then you can just add an inflation component to that. Now, is that exactly what the future will hold? No. But will it get you in the ballpark? Yeah, horseshoes, hand grenades. Yes, it will. It's better. That is a better approach to planning than saying unknowable. Therefore, I won't even think about it. And there's all sorts of I'm just going to say garbage around the idea of, well, I'm going to spend 80% of my current income. So I'll fast track the math on this, and whatever I'm earning right now in retirement, I'm going to spend 80% of that. Malarkey. I don't know if they use fancy terms like that down in the South,
that works.
Ryan, but
that works.
but no way. So
there's a few others, but that's all right.
You need to understand your spending. It doesn't need to be a full blown budget, but it's fun to think about how much you're saving. It's crucial to know how much you're spending.
Yep. And a little life hack is, if you got a couple years to retirement, declare what that is right now, and then give yourself a dress rehearsal. And we say, hey, we're going to live on X. Well, live on it. Do that for a couple of years. Prove it to yourself. I mean, the things we were talking earlier in the show about, the things that we don't have control over, and as our Medicare experts have been meeting with our clients and helping them make decisions, a lot of clients are considering for the first time going away from traditional Medicare to a Medicare Advantage.
Yeah. Because
they're looking as a couple and saying, hey, $700 a month for our medical, we don't have it. And if you don't have it, you're probably going to have to look at, you're either going to cut someplace else in the budget, or you're going to change your health plan.
That's right. This is a choice. And go back to what Josh says. Like, I feel like, no, my cell phone plan costs what my cell phone plan costs. I got to put gas in the vehicle, so that costs what it costs. I like chicken. I don't like steak, and chicken costs something, right? And so I don't have any control over this. No, those are all choices. And so anyway, so second factor is spending. Third factor is income. What income will you have in retirement? Now, you can hear Kevin's sort of foolproof plan for retirement, easy for me to say, it just never really retire, keep working. Well, that's just a hack of saying, no, I'm going to have a certain source of retirement income. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that say, I want to work part-time in retirement, and that'll be a source of income. You might have rental properties. That'll be a source of income. We all will have a decision. How are you going to optimize Social Security? And I use that phrase intentionally because most people, knee-jerk reaction, just say, I'm going to start Social Security right away. You need to optimize it. But what are your income sources in retirement?
Right. And is there something, if you're not in retirement or you're not close to retirement, is there something that you can do right now to create another stream of income in retirement? So we don't need to go into that now, but as you consider, because Mike, you're talking about one of the bigger financial decisions you're going to make in your lifetime. When do I turn on the faucet with Social Security? We had case class yesterday, had a great case that we were working on, and there was an age difference in the couples, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? And if I didn't turn on Social Security until age 70, then what could happen? And so, I was talking with a client yesterday, and he said, look, he's 70, in his early 70s. He turned on Social Security. His Social Security check's like $4,500 a month.
Crazy.
And so, and he's saying, look, I need $10,000 a month to live in retirement. Well, that's not that hard to hit if you've got a $4,500 head start, because you assume his wife has got half of that. Now I'm 60% of the way there just on Social Security.
You guys see, I mean, is there a prevailing opinion or what do you see with your clients with Social Security decisions?
I think it's one of the most areas that people have misinformation on. I think that a lot of people look this stuff up and do Google searches, but I kind of a nerdy part of my brain, I love kind of doing the optimization of Social Security. And how sick does that sound? But I enjoy doing it because it's meaningful. But I do have some clients that'll say, I don't even want to factor that in. I'm like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I think that's irresponsible as an advisor not to factor that in.
Yeah,
if you want to not put all your eggs in that basket, I'm okay with that. But you have to factor it in because it's there. That's what we know today. It's there.
Right.
There's going to be adjustments. We don't know what those are going to be, but you need to factor it in.
Yeah, I've had folks that along the way, like we build it in as well, but then we have a quote unquote technique to take it out because if you don't have it there, that's just assuming that your current feelings about money will stay the same throughout your life. And they won't.
They will not.
They won't. And so I've had people that have said, I'm not even going to assume Social Security. I don't want to plan on it. And they're rushing. Hey, wait, I'm now eligible. Should we draw? And it's like, nah, hey, hang on. So you need to make a wise choice. Okay, the last two factors that determine your ability to retire, that more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Got that one. Damn. Right on. Right on. All right. Good stuff.
Yeah. So, and we'll have to hustle.
Oh, we're good. We're right.
I think we're good.
We're right there. So, all right. Okay, fourth segment. Land on the plane.
Let's go.
Let's have fun. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn, special guest Ryan Ledden. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com. And then wherever you're at in social media, we are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. Connect with us that way. Talking about the big decision, retirement. I mean, this is typically the largest financial goal you're going to have. It's going to take the longest time for you to achieve. It's likely going to have the most variables. You need to be planning. Yep. And if you've been with us this whole time, appreciate that. And I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know if you're feeling confident. I don't know if you have questions. You need to work the process for you specifically, individually. Work with your certified financial planner. I mean, that's the message. And we'll start with it now, but we'll wrap it there as well. You need to sit down with your CFP that's doing comprehensive financial planning. Walk through that 5-factor retirement process And then on an ongoing basis, that's not an event. On an ongoing basis, continue to update that. Am I still on track? Am I still on track? And then adjust trade-offs. We'll get into all that. So, okay, there's 5 factors. We've hit the first 3. Age, so when you're going to be done. And then life expectancy is part of that too. So how long will retirement last? Spending. So what's your lifestyle in retirement? And you got to add in things like big trips. You got to add in healthcare in retirement. You got to add in an inflation component. What are your income sources in retirement? Whether that is, I'm going to keep working a little bit. I've got some other income, rental income, but you still got to make a decision. How are you going to optimize Social Security? The 4th one we're going to skip. We're going to come back to it. We're going to go out of order and go to the 5th one. The 5th factor is how much investment risk are you comfortable taking? And I'm going to introduce it this way. We've referenced this study that you need $1.5 million. $1.5 million sitting there in the bank earning nothing is very different than $1.5 million sitting in some investment tools, the stock market, okay, or a diversified mix of stocks and bonds. Now, you might say at retirement, I don't want that money sitting in the market because volatility is scary. And I understand that. But your retirement, based on that first factor, is going to last a couple of decades, most likely. And you've got to be fighting inflation. And therefore, you need to determine, well, how much risk should you take? Because that's going to influence how hard those dollars can work for you.
Yeah. Your first day of retirement is not the finish line. It's the starting line. And so you say, well, what am I starting? I'm starting the next, and who knows how long, 10 years, 20, 30 years. Well, if that money needs to grow, and we just talked about the number that you need, the amount of money that you need, if we even put any confidence in that, it's up 50% since 2020. Well, is the money sitting in the bank up 50% since 2020? Probably not. So you need to be able to compound that money to stay ahead of your 2 arch rivals, your enemies, which are taxes and inflation. So how does this money stay ahead of taxes and inflation? And then what is the right amount of risk? How do you dial the risk to let it be something that you're comfortable with? And if you're comfortable with that, the plan can tell you, I'm comfortable with that risk. Does the plan work?
Yeah. So a friend of mine, childhood friend, as I was launching my career, I was close to his parents and his late father, just an unbelievable guy. And I remember us talking. He's a doctor, really well respected in the community, but he worked until 72. And I remember he told me, and I wasn't seeing the world in this perspective at the moment, but it stuck with me. He said, well, I like working, I like what I do, but I don't really like investing in the stock market. And so I just need to save up more than other people because I know I'm going to get a lower return. Wow, what a logical answer. And so that's why this 5th factor is important. So
yeah, and everybody's got a number. I mean, like there is a math component. Of course, there's tons of behavior when it comes to rates of return, but there is a math component, and that's where people like us kind of nerd out on stuff like that. But everybody's portfolio does have a math component to it. It's going to be here or here within a certain range, and you got to dial that in.
That's right. And it's very likely that will shift a little bit in retirement. You like market volatility. Maybe when you're working, you're going to hate it when you retire. Oh, that first bear market. Oh my goodness. You're going to have a different feeling. And so that might need to tweak. That's where you need to be working with your advisor. All right, now we're bringing it home because that fourth factor is the kind of essence of the question. How much money do I need? The 4th factor is your investments. How much do you have saved up and how much are you saving?
Yeah. So, and that is, there's a lot of different ways. Again, we're talking about retirement planning, and you say, how much should I save? That question hits on almost all 6 of the areas of financial planning.
You got it. Yeah.
So you can go right around the financial planning wheel, and we have basically the 6 areas of financial planning in the form of a wheel. So you've got 6 slices of pizza, and each different area has that. But absolutely, because it impacts what is my present financial position? How much how much can I save? Can I do things to optimize and save more? Do I need to?
Yeah. This actually, so sorry, but you mentioned the what people expect they need for retirement's up 50% in the past few years. Are you saving 50% more to retirement? That was my first question. Not have my investments grown 50% in the past 4 years. I hope so, but I think more of, am I saving 50% more?
So in
Present financial
right.
position.
So that math, if you're not used to doing math, and even as a financial planner, we don't do a ton of it, but I'd say if I was saving 10%, 50% more would be 15%.
Yeah.
So did I increase? Because if I increased it once a year, in theory, I am saving 50% more.
We don't do a lot of math, Kevin.
I know.
Compared
I'm trying to be gentle.
Math
right?
professors, but compared to the average person,
no, it's all math. But it's not like I'm walking around saying, oh, I wonder if I was saving 10%, should I say 50%?
So, Kevin, one of the things that it's a really simple approach, simple question, but I've appreciated about you is when I was learning how to become a financial advisor and learning how to think, we would be meeting with some new folks, and they'd be ready to start sharing, this is how much I have saved up. But you were quick to always say, well, how much are you saving, and do you think that's enough? Like, let me take your temperature on whether you think you're doing, because how much you have saved up is certainly a component of, well, how has it grown for you? But it is much more connected to how much are you contributing. And so I think this question of how much do I need to have saved up to retire really overlooks the how much do you need to be contributing? Mm-hmm. And that's part of this factor.
Yeah, and I had a lady the other night at our workshop, and this is kind of the motivational coach in me a little bit too, talking about saving. She was 60. She raised her hand. She's like, I'm 60 years old. Is it even worth my time and efforts to put money into a Roth? And it just kind of broke my heart at the same time. But I'm like, it is absolutely never too late to start doing that. So yeah, you gotta be plowing money away no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to call that a systems failure. Ryan was telling me about this event. He had 28 ladies. It was a ladies' night. And I'm like, dude, how did you get invited to ladies' night?
I was the only man.
Well, so that's, guys, that's the process. That's the approach. And there's levers now that you can see that framework, the 5 factors. Okay, well, you mix it all together. You make your choices on, hey, this is when I think I want to retire. Here's how much we're spending. I do want to draw Social Security right away. I've been saving 10% towards retirement, blah, blah, blah. All right? And you're working with your CFP, and they're going to use some sort of system approach. We've got some fancy tools, and that's going to stress test with those interrelated factors. Are you on track to retire? You know, no one knows the future, but with some statistical analysis. And if you're not, well, then it's just manage the trade-offs. Okay, can you work an extra year? What is that? Does that move the needle? Could you spend a little bit less? Does that move the needle? Could you save a little bit more? Does that move the needle? Could you delay Social Security? Does that move the needle? What about Roth conversions? Does that move the needle? And it's just this adjustment. And you need to be working with the right guide. Because, Kevin, earlier you talked about the Sherpa leading you up the mountain. Mm-hmm. Oh, my. If you overlook the Sherpa leading you down the mountain, you're going to make some serious missteps.
Yeah, it's 8 times harder to climb down than it is to climb up statistically.
So that approach, working on those 5 factors, managing the trade-offs, as you move forward, that's what you need. And that will help you know what the number is and know if any of the other factors change, how that number changes as well. Work with your CFP. Ryan, thanks for being here today.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. So, so work with your certified financial planner. Get that comprehensive plan. Retire with clarity and confidence comfortably. So,
yep.
All right. That's all the time that we have for today. On behalf of Kevin Korhorn, myself, Ryan Ledden, and all of us at Korhorn Financial Group, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.